When you look at the convict system, you of course read all the historical records, which often represent the ideal way the system should run. But when you start to see the reality of it as seen in the artifacts or in the landscapes, then you start to understand this is an incredibly complex set of relationships between prisoners and guards, and even within those groups. There are hierarchies, there are people who run the show, there's people who suffer. So one of our big aims in the project is to take a new look at the convict sites and all these places like Norfolk Island, Port Arthur, and have a rethink about how they really worked. At Port Arthur we can see the physical expression of an ideology of punishment and reform, where people are brought to Australia and then trained in schools and then released at the other side. So the research we're currently doing is very much pitched around not the convict system as something which is necessarily punitive and painful, but a system which is quite hopeful. So there's a very broad range of technologies and skills that will be required, because we're trying to deal with everything from landscape level through to individual sites, through the archaeological assemblages and the artefacts that you find within, to actually create that story about how convict industry operated. So by doing archaeology there, we get to complement the documentary record by those who ran the system versus the silent record which the archaeology tells us about of those who actually survived it. What we're really hoping to do is to change people's opinions from it's not just all cat of nine tails and terrible things happening, that actually the convicts themselves were deriving real outcomes from this. So rather than being an intensely depressing system, that the convict system actually provided people with immense opportunities, which is a very successful way of colonising this new nation.